Hello, it's Fabienne, and I'm coming to you with somebody who is very close to my heart. We were just joking about this because I call her Katie Bell, but she'll tell you how she really says her name, and I think you're going to be incredibly inspired by Katie's stories. Okay, introduce yourself.
For the British people, I am Katie, Katie Bell. For the Americans, as you say, Fabienne so beautifully. But I am an owner of two businesses. I run a physio and wellness clinic in the UK and have done for 10 years this year. And I'm also the owner of Thrive Health and Wellness Business Coaching, which is a company that really just looks after clinic owners in the UK and Ireland who are completely overwhelmed, exhausted, and haven't been taught anything about how to run their business and make it work for them rather than starve them. And so we just look after them on the whole of their business journey.
And you've been part of Bold Heart for only 6 months. And you guys, as you're listening to this, like Katie's not even halfway through the first year. You're going to want to take notes and really soak this up. But take us back to 6 months ago. What was it that wasn't working in your business or your businesses that made you say, you know what, I can't do this alone anymore. I need some help. What was it like specifically 6 months ago?
So I was like a circus performer where I was the conductor, I was the person selling the tickets, I was the cleaner, I was the tightrope walker, I was the time tamer. I felt like I was everything to everybody, and I couldn't drop any plates, any balls at any one time. And I have a lot of energy, and my friends joke that I just plug myself back in at night and then I just go again the next day. And that's okay to a point.
Yeah.
And that got me to where I was 9 years in my physio business and 3 years into my coaching business, but it was just never ever going to get me to the next level. So I was working an enormous amount of hours. I still love what I do. I loved what I did, but there was a lot of elements of the business that just wasn't working to my strengths. I never had the time to look at what I actually wanted to do in the business, rather than I just felt like I had to just keep doing it all. I was tolerating certain things in the business. Again, never having the time to just stop and think, have I got the right people in the right seats? Are they working for me and for the business? So I was tolerating some things there. I was underpaying myself. And I just kind of knew that although people say, oh, you're going to get burnt out and exhausted, I kind of I'm not somebody that really believes in all of that sort of stuff. I'm like, no, I could just keep going. But I just kind of knew that for this business I needed the business to create me some more space in my life. And I knew to take it to the next level, I couldn't just double down. I couldn't work any harder. I couldn't do any more hours. So I knew things had to change. And at that point, I was uncoached. So I'd had a coach for a number of years and I'd left that coach. And then just because I'd kind of outgrown it, and then for loads of excuses, reasons, no time, you hadn't come into my life. I just was kind of going around in circles, and I knew I needed that guidance, that accountability, that support, because I do well in that. You just need to tell me what to do, and then I just go and make it happen. So
I think, you're describing so many people's reality.
Yeah.
And I think that some people sometimes actually don't reach out for help because there's either this, I'm a little bit embarrassed that I didn't figure this out on my own. And for other people, it's like, I'm not sure this could actually get better. I mean, here I am at 6 figures, but aren't I can it get better? And there's this what's that word? Where you're incredulous that you could actually make 2 times, 5 times, 10 times as much. You could be at £1 million a year with all this time off. I don't think some people understand that.
No, and I think it's because it becomes your new normal.
Yeah.
When you get to 6 figures, and I got to six figures in both of my businesses in the first year of running them both.
Congratulations.
Which is
Amazing.
but it's just a number, isn't it? You know, and it has to serve you in so many other ways. The number is really irrelevant. So, but I think we often then think this is just how it has to be. And who am I to how can I, doing what I know, and how, if I've got to this point, how can I possibly make it bigger? And it was that whole realization for me that I knew you know what you know what you don't know, but you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And it was this whole, okay, well, the stuff that I know has got me here, but there's all this stuff out there that I don't even know yet. And that is the key to taking this business to the next level, and being surrounded by fabulous women who are all doing it and all making amazing leaps in their lives. And you're such an inspiration that you just go, wow, I totally can make this happen. I am just like them. I'm no different.
Yeah. I always say that finding the evidence, because, you know, there's like a confirmation bias. Have you heard of that? Confirmation bias, if some of you are listening and you haven't heard this yet, is if you think something can't be done, you will find all the evidence in the world that it can't be done. But if you find the evidence that it can be done, other women are doing it every day, that confirms your initial thing. So you saw what I was doing with all these women. It's been like, you know, a long time, several decades. And you decided to jump in. Just take us to what it is like now, 6 months later. Like what is your reality now? And then we'll unravel how you got there. But I just want to skip straight to the punchline. What have you been able to accomplish in 6 months?
So I think the biggest accomplishment, and I am 6 months into this journey, and I've gone through this kind of phase where to create what I want to create, there's a lot of unraveling, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen. So I'm going to be really honest here and say it isn't just, oh, I'm now suddenly making millions of pounds and I've got all this time. It isn't that, but I can see it's there. So in 6 months, we have completely restructured our coaching program to take me out of the one-to-one delivery completely. That, even in September, October, was something that I was thinking, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I was doing 35 to 37 1-hour Zoom calls a week.
Ooh.
Wrecked energetically, emotionally, physically, you know, the whole thing.
You were offering one-to-one sessions.
Yeah, so we had a coaching program, but there was a big one-to-one element of it, and it was what I started with. It's what, you know, you built the business on. You then think nobody's possibly ever going to work with you unless you're doing all the one-to-one stuff. So I set myself a target to restructure, the get me out completely, and I decided that I joined in the June, and by January the 1st, this new model was going to be in place. I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. I thought that I could be in a place where all the clients leave and don't continue with me with this new way. And we retained at 96%. We moved everybody into the new structure. We've gone on to make more. We made more money in one day at an event than I made the entire of last year. We have made more sales since the event, since we restructured, since we announced, than we have made month on month. We're increasing. We're projected to do 400% more this year than we did last year. I am doing no one-to-one coaching. I've gone from 38 hours a week on Zoom to 2 hours to 3 hours a week, 3 of the 4 weeks of the month. So it's totally changed my time. And learning how to be with more time is something that is an ongoing work in progress.
This happens to people when they suddenly get back their whole life. They're like, what do I
do? But it has also allowed me, that space has allowed me space to go into my other business, which has been going 10 years. And there's been a lot of things that needed to change there as well to just get me out. So the space I've created here has allowed me to go back here, and I've had lots of great changes there, just in terms of tolerating less, bringing more systems in. we've got more structure, more systems, everybody's working towards their big three. We have the queen bee role. We know everybody knows what they're doing. We've been working on the EOS system over there. So just more systems, more structure, more revenue, more time, more energy, because it's not spent on all of I was the bottleneck to both of my businesses.
Yeah, this is so common. It's so common at this stage, and people just don't know how to be because they've never been taught how to trust, how to systemize, how to get their life back.
Yeah. So that's just like a few of the things that we've changed.
A few of the things.
Yeah.
So did you say that so by the end of this year,
yeah,
are you comfortable sharing where revenues will be? So we're in February right now.
Yes.
What do you think revenues will be, either combined or for each of your businesses?
So we will hit 1.1 million revenue combined over the two businesses by December 31st of this year, which is in my physio wellness clinic. It's an increase, great, but the biggest difference for me is in my coaching program, is being able to, because I was the bottleneck, the growth was going to be like tiny, whereas we've completely restructured, brought 2 new programs in. I've got coaches working for me. I'm delivering less, and now my time is on bringing people into the program, creating strategic relationships and partnerships, delivering that front end marketing and being visible. That's what I love to do.
Yeah.
And I'm just out of all the other stuff. I've brought in a COO. It was just me doing the whole thing. So
and now look at you. You've got a COO, you've got systems, totally different business model. So you will have gone, what's the percentage? So at the end of this year, it'll be 18 months since you started Bold Heart. What will that increase be?
Oh God, that's difficult. I'm not good at percentages off my head.
No, neither am I. I was hoping you were.
This is where my COO would just go. In Thrive, we are projected to do 400% increase.
Wow.
Last year. In my other business, my other business was over 500,000 revenue anyway. Yeah. And it's a bricks and mortar business. It's a very different business model.
Sure.
The growth you can't sort of do 400%.
It's not the same.
But we will probably have another 20% growth there. But really, for me, there it's about operationally being more efficient, streamlining, being able to get more profit out, but not necessarily just focus on going bigger all the time. Bigger is not always better.
Not always.
So yeah, it's just transformed both businesses. And like, I'm just so, I'm 6 months in.
Yeah. There's another 18 months.
Yeah, I know.
I know. Okay, so you've changed your business model. You've brought on a COO. Yeah. You've gotten yourself out of the day-to-day delivery. What else have you done for those who are listening and who want to get inspired and believe that they too can increase either by 400% in 6 months to a year, or even 20% in a brick and mortar? What are some of the other things that you've put in place that have been instrumental?
A lot of it is getting really clear on like projections and how we're going to make that happen. So rather than scrambling all the time, we're going, oh, well, according to our projections, we need another coach. We need another coach in June. So let's start recruiting in March.
Yeah.
So everything is more systemized. It's more planned ahead. We're not focused on what's happening today or, this week. So that just allows you to, deliver better quality, to feel more planned, more prepared. Everything this year for me, being in the leverage program, is about leveraging. So it's not about just doing more things. It's about, we launched a podcast last year and we've been really consistent. We're 60 episodes in. It's made amazing amount of sales for the little tiny podcast that it is. So now it's like, let's just do that better.
Yeah.
So look at our strategy, look at our projections, look at what we're doing and go, right, how do we leverage that now? How do we make that better? what people do we need to make that happen? Because I just want to turn up and deliver the podcast. I don't want to do all the other stuff behind the scenes. So it's finding the right people. It's being confident as to what you're going to create and strategically how you're going to do that, rather than you feeling like you're the only one that has to create it.
So in the beginning, for all of us, it has to be self-generated, either because we're a control enthusiast or we have more time than we have resources.
Yeah.
And often we need to do it first, but there's a point at which you hear me say this all the time. What got you here won't get you there. Yeah. When you've become the bottleneck, you just have to start taking a different plan of action.
Yeah.
And you're doing just that. Let me ask you this. The leverage program. What are because we always say it's a buffet, like there's just so many resources because different people need different things. What are the resources, the aspects of the program that have been absolutely transformational for you, or your favorite parts of the program?
So definitely the monthly pod calls that we have.
It's like a mastermind if you're listening to this for the first time. Yeah,
you get to meet some other fabulous business owners in all different industries. You have your coach or facilitator who runs the session, and I leave with that with a very clear 30-day implementation plan, and then I just go and make that happen, because I dare not get on the call the month later and have not done those things, because that's my personality.
Yeah, there is that healthy sense of accountability and self-competition, if you will, but like in a loving way. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's been fun. That has been the thing from the buffet that I am always going back to, because I always, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Then there is obviously so many different other elements. The Q&As are really helpful when you just I'm very much I just need this question answering. I just want to come on, get the question answered and go.
Yeah.
Just because I've had so much go on in my business in the last 6 months.
Yeah. But for those of you listening, the Q&As are where you jump on with me practically every week. So you're never more than 6 days away from coaching directly from me. And a lot of people really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's often, there's just something that's getting in your way that you don't know quite how to move forward. So you access a Q&A, as you say, you're no more than 6 days away from support at any one time. And then what I love is the big 2-day events that we have online.
Yeah, the quarterly activators.
Yeah, leveraging your team, leveraging your systems. So it's about really just giving yourself that time to focus on that element of your business. And then I always come away with masses of actions that I want to take. So I've really enjoyed, because I'm creating more space, I will be doing more of it in the next week. But just, a coaching program is there for you. You have to use the elements that you need in the time of your business and what you need most. And that will change, but there's so much that's offered to you that if you need accountability, you jump on the implementation sessions that happen like twice a month. I don't need that. So no. I don't have to use that bit. That's okay. And I don't feel guilty about that. If you need a question answering, you can jump on the Q&As. You've got your pod calls, your masterminds every month to just help keep you on track. So there's so much that.
Tell me about the community. How are the women like? I mean, there's like one great guy, but how are all the ladies like?
He is great. The ladies are, when I first came on the meeting, I felt like, and I think I said this to you, Fabienne, before, I felt like the smallest fish in the biggest pond. And I was thinking, oh, what am I doing here? This is really, and that's just a confidence thing. And then you soon just get out of your own way with that. But I remember.
And by the way, so many people feel that in the beginning, and then very shortly thereafter, they're like, "Oh wait, I belong here."
What's the saying of rising tide raises all ships?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to dive in here into this massive ocean, and I'm just going to see what happens. And the energy, the people that speak that are from all over the world, that you think, oh my gosh, look what you're doing and you're creating in your life. So they're massively inspirational. they all, because you're so good at what you do, Fabienne, have the same values. It feels you're in a very safe space. People create space for you, which was an unusual concept to me. That sounds a
Yeah, can
little,
you say more about that?
yeah. So I always think when maybe past experiences or maybe being in a very male environment, that the time that I could use in any given situation was very small, and I had to get through it really, really fast and then just get the answer and move on because I didn't want to take up any time. But actually in Bold Heart, you have as much space as you need, and people allow you the space to share what's going on, particularly in your mastermind, sessions. And so I think that's a real quality that your program brings that I haven't experienced elsewhere.
Yeah, I found that I had the same thing happen to me. As you probably know, I was in all the male masterminds. You name somebody that's well known, I've been in his mastermind. And there was almost this, can you hurry up and get to the point? And what I've learned is that we women actually process information by talking things through and knowing that that we are held by the space. And it's not like people go on, but it's more like, and everybody gains from it. So there's this extreme generosity vibe that happens. And this like, hey, let's just get on the phone. I'll help you. Like, let's talk about this online. It's really lovely to see women coming up for each other. In this way. Now, there's a kind of a burning question that I have for you that sometimes gets in the way of people who are busy like you were 6 months ago. And they're like, oh my God, I can't even add another thing to my business. I'm already so busy. Did that come up for you as resistance before you dove into Bold Heart?
It did and it didn't, in that my personality is I'm a yes person. So I'm like, I don't need to figure out the how. I just say yes and then I'll figure out the how.
Yeah.
So for me, it wasn't like, I never ask questions like, how much time am I going to need in a week to be able to do this? Because if it's important enough, you'll make the time for it. And there is some weeks, again, I'm here to be completely honest. I don't, there's no connection with me. I'm doing, and then you lift your head back up and go, okay, this is what I need to reconnect with now. And that's only going to improve because I'm here to create more space and more time. So, but without the investment, I'd probably have I would have just continued on the same spiral. But because I just made the decision that I was investing in this, I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. And I haven't implemented everything and I haven't been on everything, but it doesn't matter because look at what I have done with the tiny amount of time that I've had. So I think it's just, if it's important enough, and I think we always make changes. We wait, particularly as ladies, we wait for things to be really bad before we go, I probably should do something about this. And I just urge people who are watching this, like, if you're even thinking that your business is not serving you in some way, then don't wait for it to just get worse before you take action. Just take the inspired action that feels right for you at the time. And you'll never look back.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I call it an act of self-love. It's kind of like, I've in my neighborhood, if somebody is not doing well, what do we do as ladies? Like, we gather, we deliver food, we will babysit for your kids and stuff like that. We want to accept the help, knowing that, it's what we need right now. And this whole idea of like, oh, I'm going to try to, do it by myself, I find is one of the ways that many women in the past would hold themselves back, but just opening up and saying, you know what, I do want some help. And I am, not to sound like the shampoo commercial, but I am worth it, right? And and then I can increase my impact and increase my reach and increase my quality of life. Tell me about actually your quality of life as a result of just like what you've implemented in the last 6 months. Like, how is it with your family or your downtime? Or
the biggest change has been my energy being, because I've not felt so drained and my boundaries are way tighter. It allows me to be more present and deliver and create at this scale that I've been creating at. And then I've been able to protect more time because things are more planned.
Yeah.
Now there's times when I'm still hustling. I'm still working hours because I'm in that phase of the business. It's good.
It's only been 6 months.
We can see that what's going to be created as a result of it, and that just managing my time more, being inspired by kind of how the ladies and how you manage their time. I've got more holidays allocated rather than just waiting to see if I've got time to have a holiday, which is a crazy concept. So just all of those things, more time, more holidays, because I've got more systems and structure. I had Christmas away from my bricks and mortar business, which is a very different concept to your online business. And my team didn't contact me for the whole time, the 10 days, because we've got structure, we've got systems, we've got processes in place, and they're empowered. So just having that protected time is a massive difference.
Yeah, I talk about the unplugged vacation as not just a concept, but as a thing that our ladies do. Like many people will, without going through a process like this, will never go on vacation or holiday without their laptop. And this is a new normal. So we normalize not only that you can be at $1 million a year as a woman in business, but you can also take 14 weeks of unplugged vacations a year or more. Yeah. And everything keeps running smoothly, and in fact, scaling and growing even without your daily involvement.
Yeah.
What's possible in 3 years for you, Katie?
Everything is possible. The only barrier is what you believe is possible. But to make it happen, I think you need to not think that you need to do it by yourself, because you don't need to. And I think, just going back to what you said before, Fabienne, about people who, ladies, we often think, I need to have the time to do this. When the time is right, I'll go and get help. Or I need to I hear this a lot with clients that come into my program, I'll just get a few things sorted in my business first, and then I'll do it. And I just think that you'll never get things sorted in your business. There'll always be something else that comes up. You'll never have the time. So a part of this is just going, enough, stop, and make the decision that you need some help and you want some help.
Yeah, it's like, it's never a good time to have a baby. I had this one woman come to an event once that I had held, and she came in with tears in her eyes, and she gave me a big hug, and she said, "I'm here." And I was like, "Yeah, you're here." She goes, "No, I'm here. I saw you speak 6 years ago." And I said, "You know what? I'm just going to try to do a couple things on my own, and then I'll come back." And I said, "Okay, so how did it go?" And she said, I should have just done it right away. I would be 6 years ahead. And it's that whole thing. It's like giving ourselves that gift, whether it's here or someplace else, right? Give yourself that gift of getting all the elements that you need. You're a cook. I'm a cook. Like if you want to make a wonderful cheesecake, like, just get the cream cheese, get all the things you need, and then get in the kitchen and make it happen. Don't wait for the cream cheese to suddenly land on your lap. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but perhaps it works.
Yes, and because you do need all the ingredients in your business to make it a successful product at the end of it. And I think you can try and figure it out for yourself. And I always say to lots of my clients, if I wanted to learn how to play the piano, I would just go and get a piano teacher.
Yeah.
If I wanted to suddenly run a marathon, I don't. But if I did, I would just get a running coach who just tells you just need to, so with this, it's no different in your business. What's got you here is not going to get you there. Because if it was, you would have already done it.
Yeah, because you're smart, right? You would have figured it out. Yeah. Well, I'm super, super proud for you. It's incredibly inspiring to see somebody just come in decisively saying, "Okay, I'm just going to show up." How we always say, it's like, show up,
Yeah.
Follow the recipe. Get in the kitchen with me. Follow the recipe. Let's go. Right? There's the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. The second best time is today. And you've shown us how you've done it in just 6 months. I cannot wait to see 18 months from now what you're able to create, Katie. Thank you so much for inspiring all of us here, and just kudos to you.
You are so welcome, and thank you for all of your support.
It's my pleasure.